All right, I want to send a message to all my fans and supporters. I want to thank you guys. I hope you guys got some enjoyment out of the match tonight. Unfortunately, I was jumped, but as you guys saw, my 62-year-old...
Hold up. Ariel Helwani just unloaded a serious update about that historic UFC card going down June 14th on the South Lawn of the White House. And listen to this, the heavyweight division is getting spicy fast. He says real talks are happening about Alex Pereira stepping up to face Jon Jones in the main event, and you already know that's blockbuster energy. This would be Pereira's first run at heavyweight after he vacated his light heavyweight strap earlier this week, clearing the lane for Yuri Prochazka to clash with Carlos Ulberg at UFC 327 in April. Now here's where it gets tricky. The fight could crown a vacant heavyweight champ or an interim king, all depending on how Tom Aspinall's long-term eye injury situation plays out. Nothing is signed, and the momentum isn't exactly explosive, but don't get it twisted. The super fight concept is still breathing, and it would be massive for that stage. And if Pereira versus Jones falls apart, the UFC reportedly pivots to Pereira against Cyril Gane for either the interim or vacant heavyweight title. As for Conor McGregor, Helwani believes his comeback makes way more sense during International Fight Week on July 11th at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas instead of the White House spotlight. That White House card has fewer fights and less financial juice without traditional pay-per-view money under the new Paramount setup. So let's be real, a big money McGregor return fits the classic Vegas stage way better.
Alex Pereira is no longer the light heavyweight champion, and I can tell you right here and now that there have been some talks of him fighting Jon Jones on the White House card. Jon Jones on the White House card is not dead. I don't feel as of right now a ton of positive momentum in that direction, but I'm not here to tell you that it's dead. There have been talks of this, and I think if they don't get it done, what I'm hearing is they would do Alex versus Cyril Gane. Now, the only thing bigger than becoming a 3-division champion is being the first guy to beat Jon Jones. He wants that. If he can't get that, he's fighting for interim or, undisputed / vacant gold. And then that would get him to, hopefully, Tom Aspinall when he comes back. Big fight is coming for Alex Pereira. So we're either getting, in my opinion, Alex Pereira versus Jon Jones, or we're getting Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane. It doesn't look like it's going to be Conor on the White House card. They have a International Fight Week main event or card scheduled for July 11th in Las Vegas at T-Mobile Arena. There's a greater chance of him fighting on that card than on the White House card. There's no money to be made. In fact, they keep touting the fact that there's money to be lost from the White House event.
Hold up. Khamzat Chimaev just fired a shot at Colby Covington, calling him out for a grappling match on the RAF mats after watching his teammate Arman Tsarukyan compete, and you know that wasn't random. He jumped on X, tagged Colby directly, labeled him a clown, and basically said, "Let's settle this in real American freestyle. No cage, no excuses, just pure wrestling." At the same time, with people whispering about injuries and questioning why he's been quiet since winning the belt, Khamzat shut that down fast. He made it crystal clear, "No, I'm waiting for Sean Strickland," and that energy says he's locked in on one target. He's been vocal about wanting Strickland next, especially after that dominant TKO over Anthony Hernandez at UFC Houston and the immediate post-fight call-out that had everybody talking. Meanwhile, Dana White weighed in at the UFC Houston post-fight press conference and basically pumped the brakes, saying he'd rather see Chimaev defend that middleweight belt before chasing history in another division. Dana questioned why any champ would move up without at least one defense, stressing that you've got to clean up your own weight class first. The middleweight title picture right now? It's messy in the best way. Chimaev still hasn't defended, which is driving contenders crazy. Strickland keeps campaigning for his shot, and from the looks of it, the UFC wants Chimaev planted at 185 for the time being. And that's the exact angle Paul Felder broke down during a recent podcast appearance, hinting that the division could get really interesting really soon.
I actually like Khamzat's chances in that fight if it were to ever happen. However, here we go again with people wanting to jump all over the place, haven't even defended your belt. That's where I go, okay, if he's 2-3 fights into defending that belt, man, fuck yeah, let's go. I'm all about that. But I'm always going to be the Debbie Downer when it comes to these kind of super fights when guys are champions and there's clear contenders that should be in line. Obviously, he's got to move up to 205 for it. Do you make him give up the 185-pound belt, or do you make an exception this time around because you so desperately need big mega fights for that White House card? You let him fight Pereira for the 205-pound belt and say, okay, only under the circumstances, no matter what happens in that fight, your next fight is defending the belt against Imavov.
Listen to this. Arman Tsarukyan just set off absolute chaos after his RAF 6 wrestling match against Georgio Poullas in Arizona. And it wasn't just a scuffle, it was a full-blown scene. The number 2 ranked UFC lightweight contender got his hand raised, but you could feel the tension simmering long before the final whistle. When time ran out, Arman shoved Poullas to the mat, jumped on top, and started throwing punches and even a knee. And just like that, the entire floor erupted with over a dozen people storming in to separate them or jump in. The match had been heated from the jump, with slaps and hard exchanges, and afterward, Poullas claimed Tsarukyan's takedown was really a push-out, arguing his points came off penalties, while saying his brother and 62-year-old father had to shield him from Arman and his crew. Dana White didn't waste time reacting either, hopping in the Instagram comments under a clip of the incident and writing, "This guy can't be serious," which sounded like pure frustration from the UFC boss. And let's be real, this just adds to Arman's growing list of post-fight flare-ups, something that could affect his leverage as he angles for a lightweight title shot while juggling these grappling side missions. The footage is already everywhere, racking up views as fans argue over whether Tsarukyan let his motions cost him again, or if Poullas pushed the right buttons and lit the fuse.
I want to send a message to all my fans and supporters. I want to thank you guys. I hope you guys got some enjoyment out of the match tonight. Unfortunately, I was jumped, but as you guys saw, my 62-year-old dad and both my brothers came to my rescue. That's the way we were brought up, to fight for each other no matter what. We're outnumbered by like 12 Armenians, and they came out there running, fighting with me, fighting for me. So that's fucking love. That's how we were raised. To Arman, you're a little bitch. And by the way, if you guys watch the match, I'm the only one that got a takedown. He got pushed out and a couple penalty points. I'm still the champ, baby.
Girl, listen to this. Kamaru Usman is locked in and fully zeroed on a welterweight title showdown with Islam Makhachev, and he's not playing around. On the latest episode of the Pound for Pound podcast with Henry Cejudo, the Nigerian Nightmare laid it all out, dripping confidence, calling it the single biggest fight the division could make right now. He's manifesting a monster year ahead, fully believing both he and Makhachev are hungry for this super fight, and now it's on the UFC to make it happen. At 38, coming off a strong win over Wagan Buckley, even after a rough patch before that, Usman sees himself as the proven name, the former champ with record title defenses at 170 pounds. That right there makes this a straight-up blockbuster, pound-for-pound king versus the guy who's dominated the UFC for years. He gave props to the younger contenders, but doubled down that Usman versus Makhachev is where the highest stakes and the biggest draw lie in this new Paramount era. When Henry broke down the welterweight scene, especially the debate around Michael Morales' recent record change, Cejudo argued the loss, which was later erased, should actually count because the footage clearly showed him getting submitted. All right, sit tight. Let's hear what Kamaru had to say.
2026, I'm manifesting it being a big year for me, and so that's what I want. I believe that's what Islam wants as well, and I believe now it's up to the company to make that fight. I believe right now it's the biggest fight in the division to make. Don't get me wrong, that's no knock on what Michael Morales has done. That's no knock on what Carlos Prates has done, because these young men they're definitely putting in work. That's no knock on them. But right now, I believe if the company wants to make the biggest matchup in that division, I think it's Islam Makhachev versus Kamaru Usman. And so, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. 2026, I'm excited for what the future holds for everyone.
Yeah, man, that Paramount deal, it went from $60 a year to $90. What's up, Uncle Dana?
Hold up. Kamaru Usman came through with some straight energy for 2026, saying he's manifesting it to be a huge year for himself. and he's fully confident Islam Makhachev feels the same way. He put it bluntly, now it's on the UFC to pull the trigger and make the fight happen. Usman called it the biggest matchup the division can offer right now. No disrespect to the young guns. He even gave props to Michael Morales and Carlos Proest, saying they're grinding hard. But if you want the ultimate showdown, it's Usman versus Makhachev, hands down. He doubled down, hyped it up, and said, let's do it, showing he's ready for the fireworks. And the excitement isn't just for himself. He's pumped for what 2026 holds for the entire sport. Oh, and he couldn't resist throwing a little shade at the Paramount deal going from $60 to $90 a year, teasing, "What's up, Uncle Dana?" Classic Usman energy.